Hello, my name's Jorb. I love gear. I really do. We're talking again about the MPC Live 2. Ooh, look, I got a whole dialog box open on there. This video is pretty well connected to two other videos. The Fresh Air, Fresh Beats number 2, which didn't get a lot of traffic, so you probably haven't seen it. And my feature in Bob Eats, Best of 2021. Bless him for the opportunity to do that. And the whole idea is stealing the vibe of the SP404. I'm excited about the 404 Mark II, and I assume you are too, but I already have this, and it's super expensive, and I don't need to buy any more stuff. Look what's going on behind me, right? So, can I be inspired by the 404 without having it? 100%. And can I be interested in the things that could afford me and try that with the gear that I already have? So that's sort of what this is born out of, is let's try and get as close as we can without spending money or taking a plunge in something we don't necessarily need. And a lot of that is possible in this specific case because the NPCs are so flexible, but that idea can help you learn a lot about gear you already have. Is there some unobtainable part of whatever other thing you're lusting over? Probably not. And you can probably get most of the way there on stuff you already have with synths, samplers, drum machines, all that. You can take some inspiration by what's new and shiny and cool. Anyway, I said that 4 or 5 ways. I hope I picked a good one when I was editing. But to me, the essential parts of that workflow are resampling and punch-in effects. And so I'll show you how I resample on my MPC, and I'll show you some examples of punch-in effects and the method that I use to add them, which I'll tell you now is just cue links. It's all pretty straightforward. The video might feel a little disconnected. I'm going to start from an empty project, move all the way up to a certain point, and then I move over to the program I used in that jam and the one I made over the course of that Bob Eats video. But in general, it's here's an idea, here's a technique, watch me step through it with good view of the screen on the MPC. Does that sound good? Hope it does. Hope you stick around. If you're new, subscribe. Helps me out a lot. If you think I'm a jackass, put something nice in the comment anyway. It's okay. Good luck. Watch it. If you have a question while you're watching it, just put it right in the comments, okay? Like, don't wait for the end. Just plop that sucker right down there. Okay, I didn't script this. Can you tell? Here's the video. Alrighty, here we are on the live. I haven't done anything other than load up the pad selection I wanted, which is a G-sharp natural minor, or the scale I wanted, excuse me, a G-sharp natural minor, and the default sound on the electric piano plugin, which I have also made louder. But that's it. Okay, and I want to just resample it, but if I go into the sampler, I can't play the plugin the way I would like to play the plugin, which is okay. So what we need to do first, I have timing correct off, and my metronome is counting in, but not enabled during, and I'm quickly going to play that chord. Hold it for a sec. That should be much more than I need. And now in our sampler, or excuse me, and now in our sequencer, there is that. So here into our sampler, there we go. It's playing back while we're in this screen, which is what we want. And I want it to be resampled because we're going to sample what's coming out of our outputs. So now watch our level. That is what we want. We're starting the workflow even now from our source. So if I hit ARM and then play, it'll play through the chord just like we have in our sequencer. And then eventually it'll cut off. And I'll hit stop. Lovely. I'm going to name this chord so I don't lose track of it. Program 1 is fine. Assign to pad 1 is fine. And then we hit keep. Go to main. And then on the next track, go to drums. Program 1. There it is. I'm going to full level. Wonderful. Recorded at half level because I like the way recorded at half velocity, excuse me, because I like the way the electric plugin responds when it's like that. And now playing it back at full level just to have better levels. Cool. Okay. And now this is where immediately you could do so many different things, right? And so we're going to do the same thing we did with resampling, but we don't want to hit our sequence, right? Because that's just playing through the plugin. But you can do drum tracks fine while you're in here. So hit ARM and then play it once, and that's our trigger level. So as long as I'm over that, we're good. Let that play out its whole time, even though I probably don't need to. And I'm going to call this chord sauce because we've sauced the chord. And I'm going to assign that onto pad 1 over what we had before. And then I'm going to hit keep. Great. And now that I've got that, our saucier sample, I'm actually going to take these effects off so we aren't hearing them twice. Actually, I'll delete them even. So we're just hearing what's baked into the sample, and now we have those effects free if we want to add other stuff later. But I'm going to assign that to our whole bottom row here. And then just for visual sake, I will change the color. Okay, there's our color change. But when I play them, they all play over each other. I don't really want that, so I go to Program, Edit, and I want to change the mute group on all these to the same mute group. Great. Now they cut each other off, and now I want them to be different. So same thing, Program, Edit. I could change the master here, but when I do that, that affects everything. If I want to change an individual sample, that's in here. Cool. And now I don't want them all to be the full chord. I just want that first one to be the full chord. Just that last hit. Great. And since I baked in the sample, those effects, they're a little more exaggerated when you pitch them down, especially thematically with what we're working with here. Cool? I like that a lot. And again, this is sort of a weird demonstration to do because it's so based on the specific choices I am making right now. And I just want you to see all these tricks in this workflow straight through. So if there's any component of what you heard that made you say, yeah, I like that, yeah, I want to try that, then it's all here for you. Cool. I want to record a little sequence of that, right? Now that we have our repitches done and settled, I'm going to go to our resampler, hit play to get our metronome going, arm. And a little tail just for me. Then we can hit stop and stop. I'm going to call this chord. I already tried once. Can you see? This is going to be chord seek. Hit OK. Assign to pad 5. And then hit keep. It's a little sloppy. That's how we like it around these 404 parts, huh? And then, since I did the colors for the other ones, I'll do the colors for this one. Cool. And now, I want some drums as well. And so I'm going to go to my SSD. Counts Memory Bank. They're the best samples you'll ever find in your life. Doug, that'll do for me. Tight Disco works for me. Then I want one hi-hat. And sometimes I'd load all 5 and cycle between them. But we'll just do that. Okay, and then I'll go back to pad color. Since we're staying consistent. There those are. They're all on this same track. Now I can keep retriggering our whole little bit, our whole little resampled bit, and play my drums with it. Except it's way off time for what I wanted to show. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to load up that previous program I had. Alrighty, I moved over to a different program, and that's all this resampling workflow over and over, and I realized I don't need to show you that 8 times. You get the point. So This is a slightly different program, same idea entirely. I just did all the chops a little better, and I think the Nyquist is a little more aggressive. But I could keep playing with those just chord chops, or there's those resampled again with a hi-hat, and there's those resampled again with a kick and a snare and a hi-hat. And so I could perform, play those chords all day, mix them up, right? Or maybe I go to these full drums and the sample, and in time I swap between one with or without more drums or less drums, and I play other things on top of that. All that is an option. I could keep looping. I like to combine workflows, combine strategies. So I'm going to solo just this sample track, and I'll show you what's in it. And that's just these hits. It'll just loop like that. I'm so used to sequencing that way that I like to get all the sauce in those samples, but not deal with actually having the resampled bits be what I'm performing with. And I can have my hi-hats in here and change the velocity per step. I like that level of control with some of the sauce of resampling. It's not really a pure way to do it, if you want to think of it as that. I don't care. And I like to use plugins on top of it. So this is for my JX3P expansion. And here's the whole thing. I like to have things on their individual tracks like this and mute them in and out. I can do some more, on-the-fly performance stuff, at least for what I'm used to. And I can use my plug-in instruments without any huge trouble. That's the way I like to do all of that, okay? That's the way I like to do all of that. You could, of course, keep just resampling. But on to the second half of this is doing punch-in effects on the 404. We all know this. You'll turn knobs live while you're performing and do a stutter or a filter or whatever. The first thing you should think of is the XY effects. And they work great for this. And no complaints at all. And you should use them. I quite like the tape stop. Where is it? If you hit latch, you can just leave it there. Cool. There's a lot of good ones in here. Manual flanging. Something I'm quite fond of. Cool, all that. But the really, really cool thing you can do is with your cue links and having it on effects that are on your master or individual tracks. If you have them on your individual tracks, of course, you can affect individual sounds. But the 404 thing is all about resamples in the master, right? And so I have 3 examples for you, and I'll do one at a time. So we have our XY effect, which counts as one of them, and then this pitch shifter. And I'll show you where the settings are at. Let's listen to it. On and off, not much change, right? Just a little bit of lag. And I have it shifting nothing. We can, of course, shift it down and around. I think I used chords before. You can try whichever one, see what fits, but I'm going to go on and off of a knit. And then the fun part is assigning it to a cue link. So hold menu, tap the bottom left to do that. I'll use this bottom row because it doesn't have anything to assign to it. If we want it to be masters, insert 1 would be our XY, insert 2 is what we picked here. So I'm going to change it to shift, and I hit play. Everything that goes through it, we can shift. So I like that, but I don't want it to stay on the knob. So if I do momentary, but I want to let go of the knob and it snap back to being in pitch. So that's what this momentary switch will do. And then it'll fly back up in the performance that I think I showed at the beginning of this. I'm starting just here. and then I pitch shift at the same time. I hit this stinger, and I play into my full sequence. Cool. Let's do another one. This one I probably should have done first, to be honest. The low pass filter. You know exactly what I'm going to do with this. Insert 3 parameter frequency. We could do momentary. There's a little resonance on there. Oops, I hit something else before I hit momentary. Get it all the way up and launch it there. Wonderful. So back into mix, and our last one was a reverb. And I just brought in the dry wet mix. And same exact thing. Menu, Q links, assign it to this third one. Parameter on insert 4. The dry wet mix. We'll make it momentary as well, since we're doing all of them like that. And I think in the performance, I bring down the cutoff while I bring up the dry wet. And then back there we are. I could use any of these submixes if I wanted to add effects to certain parts or just on certain programs. So even if your XY effects are taking up the first row of your master effect chain, you can have 3 more set up on a submix or just a program or a track, whatever. So there you go. That's kind of just an individual beat breakdown, sort of a larger view at my 97 seconds or whatever it was for Bo Beats. Ask any questions you want. Sorry I changed programs in the middle of it. I was getting too frustrated. My name's been Jorb. I love gear. Hope this was helpful. Any part of this workflow, take and pick. Whatever works for you, huh? My name's been Jorb. I love gear. Good luck. Make some beats.